track at the World. We are tied. Look at this. He's I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Dropping a big leg. Over for the cover. It's over. Unbelievable. High fly ball into right field. She is gone. Austin, he got it. The starter. Mike Tyson in. Austin is the champion. Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Now the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back in. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life. He puts that ball in the net. No! No! Don't do it! Oh my God, no! Mankind did it! Nick Foley did it! No! Stone Cold did it! Mankind has achieved his dream and the dream of everyone else who's been told you can't do it! No! You can't do it! You can't do it! No matter what, got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
What's up, Connection? Welcome to Dirty War Wrestling Above Replacement. JT and Marcus taking you through the history of Dirty pay-per-view to determine the best ever by using a very specific set of metrics that we'll get to in just a moment. I want to thank you for joining us on North-South Connection. This podcast is simulcast video on YouTube, audio on all podcast applications except those losers at Spotify. And I do implore you to watch this one on YouTube because not only are Marcus and I nice to look at, we also have a lot of cool graphics by our producer, not the tool man, Tim Taylor, who delivers a graphical buffet for your eyes to help you keep track of all the nonsense in this episode. There's a lot of numbers, a lot of categories, pluses and minuses, and you get to see it on the screen. Helps you maybe process a little bit more. So we'll direct you over to YouTube where you can subscribe, like, and share our content, including everything we have going on with No So 95, our tribute to the year that is 1995. Of course, across wrestling, sports, and pop culture. Be sure to check that out. In addition to all the really cool content we do about current day WWE, led by our head man Ryan Gray on the YouTube, doing a lot of constant previews for every PLE or Saints main event, everything else is out there, and WWE's churning them out right now. I feel like they dumbed it down the calendar a little bit, but now they've heated it way back up. So we have all kinds of stuff dropping. So he's really killing it with the previews and the post-game shows. Check all that out, plus all the other content we have here at North-South Connection. Marcus, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. And speaking of 1995, it brings me back to the memory of this one time I was outside riding my bike and I hit a speed bump really fast and I did a flip over the handlebars. And next thing I knew, I was on my mom and dad's couch and I was watching reruns of Monday Night Raw, and it was the tag match of Razor and Savio versus Owen and Yoko. Mm-hmm. And it was like the two-parter or whatever.
Yep.
And so I've seen that match probably like 1,000 times, and I'm like, should I do a special on it?
Yes, you should. Yes, you should.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We'll
Did you blame the Bill Goldberg for the flipping over on the bike, like Brett?
No, man. It was it was a 450. Hit that jank.
Did you? How did you watch these replays? Did you use the video VHS record these?
I felt like the match was being rerun maybe by a challenge turned into a recap show at that point.
Maybe WWE also many may not remember, but in the fall of 95, so you may be thinking of this, they would replay Raw on Thursday nights at like 10 o'clock at night or something like that. So maybe you're thinking of that.
Might have been it. Yeah, I would. I lived in the Philly market, so we got Wrestling Challenge, we got Spotlight. It might have been Spotlight. It might have been
Yeah, they might have been
Spotlight.
showing on there.
So yeah, if yeah,
That was like
that
where
time,
they
I mean, there's
admitted Raw was taped too for a while. Remember they'd show the preview
yeah,
of like the
yeah.
match in the almost like prime time used to. It was very odd.
Mm-hmm.
That fall of '95 is very odd. I blame Bill Watts. All right, who I don't blame is Tim Taylor. He's our producer, and he's going to read the rules of this fine podcast for you right now.
Welcome to WWE WAR. I'm producer Tim. JT and Marcus have taken on the noble task of finding the true answer to the age-old question wrestling fans have debated for years. What is the greatest WWE pay-per-view of all time? To find the answer, WAR looks to explore each and every pay-per-view using a plus-minus scale at a baseline average, where things above average gain a point and things below average lose a point. WWE WAR grades on several categories including match quality, build, commentary, atmosphere, notable moments, card structure, and rewatchability. The magic number to remember for WWE WAR is 2.5. That is the baseline number for an average replacement level match. Any grade higher or lower than 2.5 raises or lowers the average WAR score. For example, if JT and Marcus give a match a 3-star rating, then that match is 0.5 points above replacement. Add all of the totals up and you get your nice round number to give you your match quality grade. There's also a bonus. If there is a match that both JT and Marcus rate 4.25 or higher, or 0.75 or lower, that match gains or loses a point for either an all-time great match or an all-time bad match. By the time we're done, we will have composed the most comprehensive list ever for WWE pay-per-views to give you the answer of what is the greatest WWE pay-per-view of all time. Take it away, boys.
All right. Thank you, producer Tim, for so succinctly explaining those rules. Hopefully everyone followed along. And if not, I'm sure you can pick it up as we go. Let's dive in. Hell in a Cell 2013 took place on October 27th, 2013. And I should mention we're about halfway through our season. When I say season, what I mean is we are covering these in a seasonal format, starting with the first pay-per-view following WrestleMania in a calendar year, culminating with WrestleMania the following year. So the season started with Extreme Rules 2013, ends with WrestleMania 30. Then we'll be on to the next one. So we're ranking these shows individually. We're also ranking the seasons. We do awards at the end of every season. So that's the format we take this in. October 27, 2013, American Airlines Arena from Miami, Florida, 9,000 in attendance. Years Duty has held more than one domestic Duty pay-per-view in the same month to date. 2000, 2001, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007. 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012. You can see a trend that stretched there from 04 to 12. And a lot of those had multiple times. Like 2006 had 5 times where 2 pay-per-views emanated in the same month. That 06 is so bloated. So anyway, there you go. Hell in a Cell is also in that stretch too in 2013. We had one pre-show match. Damian Sandow knocks off Kofi Kingston. And then our announce team has been what it has been all along, and that was Michael Cole, Jerry the Stupid King Lawler, and John Bradshaw Layfield.
Haha, Michael.
My God. All right, let's get over to our matches, and we'll talk grades and see what our in-ring result is. Our opener is a tag team match. It is for the tag team titles, and we have our brand new champions, Cody Rhodes and Goldust, who not only kept their jobs at Battleground, they've now become tag team champions. They defeated the Shield on Raw, which is also a great match. Where they took the titles. They are defending against the Shield, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, and the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. We go 15 minutes. Cody and Goldust retain. 3.5 for me. I like this as an opener a lot. The tag division has found its footing. They've put some time and energy and effort into it. You know, we had a lot of that was around the Shield, but now we've condensed the Shield into a tag team. The Rose Brothers are great. The Usos are growing and coming along. We've seen that throughout 2013. We have the Real Americans. So we have some really good tag teams coming into their own. And again, just like last month, we talked about it. This is like some cool history and tie-ins to this match. You have the Usos with Reigns. Then you got, Cody and Jay, Rollins and Cody and Reigns. Like there's all this like modern day touch within this, which is really cool to see them here, just so far removed from any of that, Marcus.
Yeah, 3.5 for me too. This match rips. It's a really cool triple threat match, and you still have the personal issue going on with the Rhodes and the Shield. But now you add the Usos in here is like this wild card dynamic, and they're still finding themselves. But this is kind of the first iteration that really sticks with the Usos. We got the face paint and going hard in the paint and that kind of era of the Usos here. So. This time they're still high flying around, lots of super kicks, but hadn't been overexposed yet. So it feels like a really fresh addition to the main tag team scene. So 3.5 for me. And we go on to our next match, which is also a tag team match. It is a mixed tag team match as we have the Great Khali and Natalya losing to Summer Rae and Fandango. Trying to get back on track with Fandango and Summer Rae. I went with a 1. Khali feels like a shoe-in for our LVP team.
Fucking teammate.
Yeah, this is 2 matches that his presence has kind of tanked. But yeah, not too good here.
No, I like Fandango and Summer too, but this is just, if you had like tell me like, if you could pick a match of any tag team that you'd least like to see in wrestling history of any 2 wrestlers put together, Great Khali and Natalya, maybe pretty high the list. And I'm not even a Natalya hater, but just when they came out, it's like, God damn it. Like, I don't want to watch them. Like, what are we doing? Just silly. I don't know. At least Fandango and Summer win. It's less than 5 minutes. 1 for me. All right. We have the United States Championship on the line as Big E Langston takes on Dean Ambrose, our champion. 2.25 for me. Big E wins by countout to defeat our champion, but not win the title. So he's really striking out on his own now. Big E is done with Dolph, kind of done with AJ, just kind of out on his own. He's basically a face now. Ambrose is an old school guy, so we get an old school finish to the count out, but I kept waiting for this to hit that gear that never came for these 2 guys. And I will say this season is soured me a bit on Ambrose as a solo act. Like, I remember thinking at the time he should be the one that kind of splits off and turns heel and has the run. But man, watching this solo run here, like, it has been down. And he's getting some good opponents. Like, we had Dolph. We didn't like that match that much. And now Big E, he's like, yeah, he's not the Big E of later, but he's still pretty good. And this match was not great. So yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, with Ambrose, always wondered in WWE, if you ever see a band, are they more of a studio band or are they a concert band, or sometimes you get both. And with Ambrose, it always felt like, is he like a really great house show wrestler? Because some of the TV stuff doesn't have the high hit rate that you would expect, and that his reputation had kind of preceded him with coming out of FCW. I went 2.75. Kind of extra bump because you can see the effort there, even though they don't get into that next gear. Both guys are trying hard, especially Big E, trying to stand out on his own. Can recognize that opportunities like this are few and far between. So, they're working hard. It just, it never gets to a memorable level, but 2.75, 2.25 for you. So we go to our next match, which is our first Hell in a Cell match. It is a handicap Hell in a Cell, and it is CM Punk defeating the Ryback and the Walrus, Paul Heyman, who spends the majority of the match, or the entirety of the match up on the top of the cell. I went with a 2.5. Thankfully, this is done. It's time to finish this. Finish it, as the Ryback has said. Yeah. And we're in a really tricky era, I think, to pull off matches like this in WWE. If you're gonna have weapons, it's got to be the toys and the plunder. Can't blade, can't juice. Can't have the hatred like you'd like in one of these matches. So they're definitely handcuff coming into this match. And just with the focus being on Heyman on top of the cell as well, 2.5 is lower than you would think, but at replacement level.
Yeah, and 2 3/4 for me. It's under 14 minutes. I mean, Heyman's fun. Even though the Paul Rudd stuff is at its like peak here with King just obsessing over it. Punk finally gets his, final licks on Heyman on top of the cell, which is a cool visual. Hits him with the go to sleep. I mean, luckily the cage didn't break and they didn't tumble down, but extra reinforcement. So that's a good finish to the feud. It's a good capper of the feud. Again, I've liked Ryback throughout most of the season. I thought he was fine here, but Punk, all right, we're ready. Let's get back on with him now. We've gave him the break after Mania. We've wasted 6 months just trying to keep him busy for a little while or whatever. It's been 4 or 5 months. Now it's time to kind of ramp him up for whatever his Mania program is going to be, right? Let's get that up and running. We're done with him and Heyman. Let's move on to the next thing. So that's that for that one. Next up, we have tag action, which, we talked about this again last month. We get another tag match that doesn't have the titles included. So we're building out this tag division. And I thought this era is interesting, Marcus, because they're putting a lot of matches on these cards. Like this one's got, we have 8 to 9 matches, which is pretty good. A season we did previously, 2018-19, we were getting 10, 11 matches, but it was double the length of these freaking shows. Even with 8 or 9 matches, we are still boom at that 245, which is one of the positives of the still lingering pay-per-view era before the network era, right? Where they start getting super bloated, because we covered some of those 18-19 shows that were 5 hours. Ridiculous, So even with 8 or 9 matches, these cards are still humming along. They keep everything tight under 15, except for the main event. Usually most stuff's under 10. There's not a lot of gaga. So, I mean, there is that positive to this era that they move along. So anyway, tag action, Los Matadores take on the Real Americans. I went 2 stars. Again, we kind of gushed over the Real Americans last show, so I'm not going to do it again. But they're a real fun team. I'm glad they're getting spotlight time. And again, this is, we got 5 teams right now on this card that are all pretty good.
Yeah, 2.5 for me. Los Matadores are up. Lots of shenanigans with Lil Bull and Zeb. So something for the kids, 2.5. Our next match is for the World Heavyweight Championship, as we have a returning John Cena defeating Alberto Del Rio to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. I went with a 3.5. Del Rio continues to be extra solid during this time period. Cena as well really overall brings it for the most part this season in ring, better than I had expected. And as much as I loved the RVD series and loved the action that RVD could bring, this just finally felt like a world title match with a star.
It's later in the card too, even with Cena being in the middle. It's still later. It's not an opener. Yeah, it was good. I mean, it just felt like a Cena must post right out of the
exactly.
Playbook. That's the only thing which I wasn't crazy about. Del Rio's had a great run. We really liked all his stuff. And all right, Cena's back. It's his title. I know what they're trying to get to, but they could have maybe had Del Rio retain here and then Cena win it at Survivor Series or something. We didn't need to have him win, come back, immediately win. It felt of course. And yeah, he's had some decent stuff, but for whatever reason, khaki belt, khaki short Cena era, is one of my least favorites. It feels like it's his final stretch before becoming Super Cena indie worker guy, that he becomes for his last few years. Feels like we're at the very end of that period where everyone was sick of him. And this doesn't help. It's all right, he comes right back and beats Del Rio. So whatever. So 3.5, it's fine. They go 15. It's pretty basic. All right, we have our Divas title on the line. It's a rematch from last month. AJ Lee defeats Brie Bella yet again under 6 minutes. So AJ continues her dominance of the division in this kind of total Divas, war that she's got going on. This felt a little bit better. I have to look at what I had last month, but I think it was a touch.
Both in the ones. Yeah, we were both in the ones for the.
Yep. So a little bit better this time around. It's 5 minutes again. Tamina's with AJ. They stuck him in the death spot, which didn't help, but
yeah. Closer replacement level for me, 2.25. So a pretty big improvement from the previous show's battle between those two.
And AJ is she's another one like Dolph that's kind of doing she's still spotlighted better than Dolph is, but remember how much we were complaining in those early shows this season that she was all over the friggin' pay-per-view? like 5-6 segments, it felt like, and
Mhm.
involved in major stories. Now it's like, she's out here for 5 minutes and gone. Maybe you get a promo before the match and that's it. So they've definitely whittled down her presence as well.
All right, let's get to the main event of the evening. Of course, it is contested inside the Hell in a Cell for the vacant WWE Championship with special guest referee Shawn Michaels. We have Daniel Bryan losing to Randy Orton. I went to 3.25. I wish these guys could have just had the cell match. And
Oh, really? You're mad about Shawn Michaels being involved?
Well, it's not just because of Shawn. It's Shawn, and it's Triple H, and it's the vacant title, and you got Big Show lurking, and it's just like, it's almost like you're just waiting for the ref bump. You're waiting for, the thing that happens in the match that, okay, now the match is going to get interesting. You're waiting for the final 2 minutes. And like, these two guys are great wrestlers, and they should just be able to go out there and tell a great story and have the match that they can and want to have.
It just sucks.
It almost just felt like, the match was like an afterthought to, the shenanigans you're waiting for.
It just sucks that they've had 3 pay-per-view matches where they've gotten like 20 plus. And this is, I think it's my third straight 3.5, maybe. Like, I don't know. Like, they're fine. It reminds me a lot of like the AJ style. I don't want to keep going back to 18, 19, but remember those AJ title matches like in 2018? We kept waiting for like the big one to come. And we're like, all right, these are good, but like on paper, this should pop. Like, this is Bryan's rise, like his ascent. And I'm not blaming him here, but it's like, he's so over you. You in your memory, you're thinking, okay, these were all like classics, him and Orton during this period. And it's like they've all been, maybe my expectations going in were unfair, but I've definitely been disappointed for them to get 20 minutes every time. And then again in the cell, Shawn's got the usual cell pathos he works in, but still, they should have rose above some of that. Michaels ends up costing Bryan. I don't think it goes anywhere. So again, it's like, is he working for the Authority? What's he doing? Like, was he just mad that he got hit and cost his old protege? So it's, I don't know, like that's weird too. It's like he sticks around. I do wonder if they could have coaxed him out of retirement if a Bryan Shawn match would have satiated the fans enough to get them out of their own heads about him not fighting for the world title, winning the Rumble. Like, I wonder if, he loses, he doesn't win the Rumble, everyone's pissed, but then Shawn comes out and is like, who needs the title match? You can fight Mr. WrestleMania or something, you know what I mean? And then they do Bryan and Shawn at Mania. Could that have like, I'm never going to take away WrestleMania. We'll get there about how great it is, but it's
I
like,
will, but
I know, whatever. We'll talk about it, but it's like, could that have satiated the fans enough?
Well, like I think the crux of the attack here is like the Bryan gets his hands on Triple H, and that's kind of like, oh, you did wrong by my buddy, so now I got to take you out. So like, what if, maybe Bryan gets his lick back or something like that on TV, and then you get to the Rumble where you think you've forgotten about it, and Shawn eliminates him from the Rumble.
Right.
And then now you're off to the races.
Or attacks him backstage and he's not even in the Rumble like he wasn't anyway.
There you go. And now you have a heel Shawn Michaels taking on Bryan at WrestleMania. Like, that seems pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then if you wanted to do Batista Orton, maybe you can get away with it. But then you lose Bryan Triple H, which is an all-time classic. So whatever. I don't know, whatever. It's a tough one to what if. It's kind of like WrestleMania 8, where like you want to what if Hogan and Flair, but you don't want to take away Flair and Savage. It's like that. It's like, you kind of want to what if it, but you can't really because there's such good stuff in there. Or in some other world, they keep Punk happy and you do Punk and Orton at Mania or Punk and Triple H, whatever it is, right? I guess, I mean, if you do Batista Orton, Punk, Triple H, Bryan, Shawn, like, does that and Taker Brock? I don't know. Maybe that's there.
Especially if Punk and Bryan are up, like, right, even though it doesn't involve the title, that's a pretty cool moment.
All right, in ring, the exact same war scores last show, 1-2-5, not good. So again, you look at the card, you're like, there's a lot of great workers, but just not delivering. All right, let's get to our next category, which is build. All right, so we got points for the Rhodes Brothers winning the tag team titles from the Shield with help from a fired Big Show. Point for the Wyatts targeting and stalking Miz. They beat him up. They chain him and write liar on him, take him out of the pay-per-view. A point for Fandango wrestling Kali on TV, Natalia and Summer Rae Brawl. A point for Punk defeating Axel and gets to pick a stipulation, and he adds Heyman to the cell match. A point for Torito goring Zeb in the gut and the ass. A point for John Cena having surgery for his torn tricep. He battles back to get the title shot. Del Rio threatens to tear it again. A point for Brie Bella chasing AJ Lee since Battleground. And a point for Shawn Michaels being added as a special guest referee via fan vote. And it's a good tie-in to him training Daniel Bryan, but being buddies with Triple H. So he's kind of got, ops on both sides that he's going to work through.
Rare justified use of Shawn Michaels. Yeah. Let's get into the minuses. We got Big Show doinking the yes chant. It's mega lame.
Oh my god.
-2 there. We get Big E and Ambrose added on the pre-show. U.S. title deserves better at the current time and place. And then Triple H belittling Brian Moore with crap that sticks around. Not best for business. B+ player. Michaels wasted his time training him. We gave all that a -2.
Yeah, I mean, those are Big Show usurping the yes chant was so lame because it was so obvious what they were trying to do that they just thought the chant was over. It didn't matter who was doing it, when obviously they're doing it because they love Daniel Bryan, not because they just like to say yes for anybody. So having Big Show almost take it over for him was like super stupid. And then, Triple H belittling Bryan just was bad. Like, I know that in their mind, it's, we're getting him over to win, but he doesn't win. So it's like, again, you shit on him. He's B+. That stuck with Bryan for a while, the B+ thing. Not best for business. Shawn wasted his time, and then he loses anyway. So it's like, okay. So I guess this is a build score of 5. Let's head over to commentary. We have a point for Rey Mysterio working the Spanish commentary team was a cool touch after he returned to the company. Good stat by Cole, calls out that the Punk match is the 27th cell match in history. So that was kind of cool. And obviously, the main event would be 28. Good job telling the story of Del Rio's arm breaker versus Cena's tricep. And good notes on Orton's Hell in a Cell experience versus Bryan and Michael's history in the cell. Just, really cool kind of tying that all together. So, when they're focused, they do fine on this team. But as we'll see, not always focused.
Not always a lot to focus on. For our minuses, we have Cole saying 3 men will be in the ring at all times during that triple threat opener. And then the structure is just 2 guys at once with regular tags.
Like right after he says it, they go to the apron.
Lots to talk about. Twitter arguments, too much sarcastic roasting of each other, constant bickering and jabbing. No energy to carry stretches of show where the crowd is out of it. They play down to that level as opposed to trying to boost things up. Too busy chuckling around. JBL says you can feel the buzz in the arena as the cell lowers when it's dead silent.
Mago, you can feel the buzz in the arena. It's just like quiet.
Half empty American Airlines arena. JBL is brutal during the Matador match. Loudly humming and making terrible Spanish jokes.
Look
at that Mago. He's a little bull. Old men name dropping young Hollywood stars during the women's match. That was weird and creepy. And not enough mention of Big E's turn. Almost treated just like it's a brand new person that turned up on the scene.
Yeah, it was odd.
Yeah.
All right, so not a good show for commentary at all. That gives us a score of -4. Let's go to atmosphere. We have a point for a nice Hell in a Cell focused opening video. The Legends talking about their history in the cage. A point for the real sweet Goldust and Cody Rhodes mashup theme, which sounds awesome. Still holds up. A point for we talked about this last show, the pink aesthetic and unique staging for for this era here. Creepy vibes all throughout the Miz Wyatt segment. We didn't really talk about that as a segment, but it's really well done. They really play up. Again, they've done a good job making Bray kind of stand up to what he's talking about, being a creepy deliverance type cult guy. They've held up well with that. A point for Punk willing the crowd into that match down the home stretch. I mean, he pushes their way through it. A point, as always, for the festive Del Rio theme. A point for the big pop for Cena's win. A point for Daniel Bryan's pop and Shawn Michaels' pop. So the crowd was into all those guys in the main event.
Let's get into the minuses. We get the crowd being super dead for the Usos entrance. And the Usos throughout the night as they're still getting over. Fandango, RIP, crowd snoozing through the U.S. title match. Goldberg chance to Ryback within seconds of the bell ringing.
It's I they've made me sympathize with Ryback too much in the season. Like I actually feel like his matches are okay, and the crowd is constantly chanting you can't wrestle on Goldberg for no reason. Because it's not. He's been fine.
And the crowd asleep for AJ and Bree. AJ losing overness show by show.
Yeah, big time. All right, atmosphere score is 4. Let's get to notable moments. Did this show have anything cooking? Yeah, a little bit more than normal. We get the Rose Bros being the Shield 2 straight months. You tell me, is the luster coming off the Shield a bit? They were like unbeatable forever, and now they've lost 2 straight pay-per-views to Goldust. Kane returns to take out the Wyatt, so he's back after they kidnapped him at SummerSlam. I will say at the time, I was a little disappointed. Like, I thought they had a real chance to like finally do this cult thing the right way. Kane is such a fungible character. Like, they could have easily turned him into being brainwashed by the Wyatts and like being with them. It would have been an easy choice. Because then you even have like the Authority kind of pissy, right? You have Brian, like you have multiple people you kind of have like kind of pissed off about Kane being taken and converted. First ODM match with Summer Rae. A point for Punk finally destroying Heyman and ending the feud. The Los Matadores pay-per-view debut. A point for John Cena winning his 3rd world title, 14th overall, and a point for Orton finally winning the WWE title, taking it out of abeyance.
All right. Yeah, we've got both Orton and Cena title wins tonight. We'll see where that goes. Getting to the minuses, we have poor Zigzag Man. He's worked his way all the way down to the expert panel high atop the arena.
What a descent month by month he has gone through.
Not even on the pre-show anymore. No, nothing. Political hit of the ages, man. A political assassination throughout this season. And then Orton picking up the win because of Michael's super kick.
I don't remember if Dolph is at Mania, but it's going to be real interesting to see because that is a precipitous fall. He's probably in the Andre, I'm guessing. I don't remember. Off the top of my head, we'll find out. But all right, notable moments. This is kind of one of the more notable shows we've had so far this to the back end of the season. That gives us a total score of 5. So stuff happens. Let's get to card structure. A point for starting hot with a tag opener. The division continues to be rehabilitated. A point for a good decision to do Miz Wyatts as a segment. Again, I'm going to talk too much about it, but you know, Miz cuts his promo, the Wyatts come and beat him down. I like that better than doing a match with those guys. I think this worked much tighter. A point for only having 2 Hell in a Cell matches, and both feuds warranted it. It was good restraint by them during a time where they would usually throw 15 matches in a cell. So just both of those feuds I thought fit within the cell concept. And a point for Michaels as a ref is a good choice. Only because you get the history, it makes sense within the story. You need to have a strong official. Scott Armstrong was a disaster last month, 2 months ago. You had the no contest last month because of Big Show. You needed a step to house these guys, a strong ref, plus you have the ties to the Authority from Michaels and Brian. So there's a lot of goodness to have him as the choice.
Okay. For our cons, we have the continued corporate structure talk, too much power struggle, baked into everything. The Authority, multiple GMs making matches, way off the rails with Authority.
Yeah, we got Brad Maddox, we got Vicky. They're arguing. It's like just fucking have a show. Just have the show. We don't need all the sausage being made. Just have the wrestling show.
The mixed tag is pointless on this card. The crowd pisses the count out finish the U.S. title match. So much of Punk's year has been wasted in this Heyman feud. Again, shades of Brett in '95.
We all know
that
the
roster. So it could go with Shawn Michaels. The roster depth feels like it's rapidly bottoming out. AJ and Bree, tough death slot after the Cena win. And Triple H and Michaels pathos derails the match, -2.
Yeah, we'll go easy on the power structure. We won't give the full Monty 3 because I do feel like last month was worse, but it's still a lot here for sure. All right, card structure is always a bugaboo on these shows. So let's see what we got. -4, no good. All right, rewatchability. Anything worth rewatching? Okay, we got some decent stuff. We got the Cody Rhodes superplex onto Rollins into the wrestlers on the floor. That looked really cool. Miz telling Bray to get out of his Cracker Barrel rocking chair, leave the Bushwhacker Hillbillies at home. It was a funny line from Miz. A point for Big E's apron spear, looked great in the show. A point for Punk destroying Heyman on top of the cell. It's a cool visual. Doing it up there to end the feud made it seem like it really was even more pronounced. Point for the Cesaro swing. 31 revolutions on the swing in this match. So that was awesome. I like that they counted out and stayed it. So that's super impressive. A point for Del Rio's urgency, carrying the load in the title match. He had crisp offense. He's attacking the arm. He went all out in his final match as champion. We didn't talk about this, but in the back, we have Bob Backlund shows up to talk to the primetime players. They're promoting the video game, so he's sweating, pouring sweat. He's ranting about dancing in video games. This classic crazy Bob. And then a point for Daniel Bryan's running knee to Triple H in the cage. Looks really cool. He nailed him with it.
I have never eaten marijuana.
Kids are eating marijuana.
Let's get to the minuses. We've got Punk's look, the hair.
Oh
the
my
Wolverine
god, I hate
chop.
the fucking Wolverine chops.
It's got to be his worst look, I think.
It's fitting that it's during this stretch of like the worst probably of his career. It's like, with the worst look he's ever had.
We get the Real Americans losing comedy matches when they should be.
They should be. I know the Matadors were new, but they should have won that match.
And then poor Caitlyn struggling hard on the panel.
Yeah,
not a good fit for her.
Yeah, I'm good never seeing her talk about wrestling on a panel again. All right, rewatchability, surprisingly rewatchable show, I guess. 5. No all-time matches either way, so that's another big old goose egg, and that gives us a final war score of 12.25, so a little bit better than Battleground. Still kind of suffering in the fall. In-ring did not help. Commentary sucks at this time. Card structure, not good. But it had a little bit more to get into than Battleground. We had some more moments happen. It was a little bit more rewatchable. So a little bit better. And it finishes just below WrestleMania 11. So that gives you exactly a good feel for where this is. And right above No Mercy 04. For 93rd all-time out of, what are we at, 136 now, I think? Yeah, 136. So, back end, but toward the top of the back end, I guess. Not quite toward the bottom of the barrel like Battleground was. So that'll do it for us, Marcus. Let's hit our top 10, and then we're going to get out of here. So all-time 10th show, SummerSlam 1992 with 38.25.
Number 9, SummerSlam 2001 with a 39.
Number 8, SummerSlam 2015, 39.25.
Number 7 is WrestleMania 7 with a 39.5.
Number 6, Vengeance 2005 at 41.
Number 5, SummerSlam 1990 with a 42.
Number 4, Royal Rumble 2005 at 44.
It's a 2002 Royal Rumble.
Sorry.
There. We got SummerSlam 2005 at number 3, though, 46.5.
Number 2, WrestleMania 22 at 56.5.
And our number 1 is ECW One Night Stand 2005 with a 79.
All right. There's your top 10. In 2 weeks, we'll be back with Survivor Series 2013. And that'll really kind of kick us off because a month from now, we'll be at TLC. And then we'll be into 2014 for the home stretch to Mania 30. So we're creeping along through this season, my friend. Be sure to check out everything in North-South Connection, like I mentioned earlier. Plus, subscribe to the Final Wrestling Place Patreon. Tim and Marcus do an awesome job providing tons of content for the value over there. Give some love to my boys, and make sure you're taking care of them over at the Final Wrestling Place. Until then, keep living your life above replacement level. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks at the Survivor Series, Bagel.
Who's ready for this?